I just hope that kids all over the world that buy my jersey, come take a picture with me, get a hug with me, I never really forget those moments. As big as an impact as I may have on you as a person in your development, you've had on me as a person in my development, and we're all developing every day. We're all human. You're going to have bad days. You're going to have good days. And my advice is that when you're having a bad day, you don't mask it. You don't act like you're not having a bad day. You have that bad day. You lean into it. You feel those emotions. You be honest with yourself. You cry if you need to, and you pray. And then you come out of that day, and then you go to the next day, because it's always going to be a next day as long as God gives you another 24 to have the opportunity to be better than yesterday. And it's all about the journey. It's not about the end goal. It's not about what's at the end. It's about each and every day, the steps you take that's going to build you to be the person that you need to be.
Welcome back, friends. Today's the first time ever that I've came to record at the Sonnentag Center. And the first time ever with a basketball player. Not one from the NBA, not one from a local league, one from the Harlem Globetrotters. Welcome to the show, Darnell, Speedy, Artis.
Thanks for having me.
Dude, this is rad. I never thought I would interview a Globetrotter. Yeah. I was thinking about this yesterday, and I was like, when I was a kid, I used to love Scooby-Doo. And the Globetrotters were on Scooby-Doo cool. when I was little. And I was like, I played basketball from when I was like 5 until I hit high school. So especially back then, it was like the coolest thing in the world. Yeah. And if you would have told my like 7-year-old self that I'd be hanging out for work talking with a Globetrotter in Eau Claire, I would not have believed you.
That's pretty funny. I think it's pretty cool that people have different type of connections to the Globetrotters, like, and the different generations have different type of connections to the Globetrotters. Like the Scooby-Doo thing is something that I hear all the time from people who maybe are just a little bit older than me. So it's like I just probably missed the Scooby-Doo wave by, I don't know, maybe 5, 10, however many years. But, obviously, Sweet Lou 2 is on our team, and his father is Sweet Lou Dunbar, who is one of the legendary Harlem Globetrotters during the time when the Harlem Globetrotters were like super rock stars, and, we're still rock stars, but, that Scooby-Doo feel and the McDonald's commercials and all of that stuff. And, I just was looking at a picture of me, Sweet Lou, and Sweet Lou 2 not too long, because me and Sweet Lou 2 are really close. And I was like, wow, I'm in a picture with Sweet Lou and Sweet Lou 2. And in like 25 years, like right now, I appreciate the picture. Today, I saw it for the first time and really appreciated it. But I know in like 25 years, that picture is going to really mean a lot to me, because it's going to be like, this is such a piece of iconic, legendary history. A father-son duo for probably the most iconic sports brand there is, and I'm in a picture with them. It's pretty crazy. Yeah,
well, especially like an iconic sports brand, people think of like the Lakers or whatever with basketball, or the Timberwolves or whatever, but you guys are internationally the biggest
for
brand,
sure.
And for decades and decades and decades, right? Like the Globetrotter started in the 40s, or it was a long time ago,
1926.
Right?
This is
20s.
This is the 99th season consecutive. So 1926 started Abe Saperstein in Chicago, Illinois. So the Globetrotters not even from New York. Yeah. Something that a lot of people don't know. The team started in Chicago, kind of just played around Chicago, barnstorming. Then in 1927, they played their first road game in Hinckley, Illinois. So the Globetrotter name is kind of Abe Saperstein was a marketing genius ahead of his time, because it was during the Harlem Renaissance. He knew that would bring awareness to the team. And the team really didn't get his like global recognition until they beat the Lakers, who were the NBA World Champions in 1948 and 1949. Yeah. And that's how, colored basketball players ended up in the NBA, because Nat Sweetwater Clifton, after the Globetrotters beat the Lakers 2 years straight, became the first African American to sign an NBA contract. And, the rest is history. Now you have your LeBron James and your Chris Paul and this player and that player, but it all started with the Harlem Globetrotters.
Yeah, well, and again, like the international impact in that kind of way. There's so many people around the world in these countries where basketball isn't like one of the main sports that everyone pays attention to. And their first introduction is somebody like you, because you've been traveling all over the world, right? Like how many countries?
I've been to 43 countries around the world.
Oh, God.
I probably spent maybe more time in Europe the last 3 years than I have in America. Or more time internationally than I have in America, like no lie. And you're right. I mean, when we go to these different countries, obviously most of these countries that I've been to, their number one sport was soccer or football. you know? So, to get that chance, but they all know the Harlem Globetrotters. Like everywhere you go, these people know the Harlem Globetrotters. They just spinning the ball on the finger and doing all the really cool tricks, and they know you're coming to do trick shots and, just be a really high-level basketball player. I think it's really cool that we get a chance to introduce a kid that probably only loves or knows football, soccer, and now he's going to probably be infatuated with basketball for the next 6 months, 6 years, 60 years, however long, all because he came to a Harlem Globetrotters game in Barcelona, Spain, or, Reykjavik, Iceland, or wherever, some of these places we've been to.
Yeah, well, and I just love that it's actually focused on the fun side, because I think that's so important. Like, I played basketball from when I was 5 until I got to high school, and I just wasn't good at it. I just wasn't. I really liked playing, but in my middle school, we had 3 teams, and I was the 5th best on one of the 3 teams for 8th grade. I just sucked at basketball. I played all the time, but I sucked at it. But I got to high school, and I just knew no matter what I did, there's no way I was going to make the team. And even if I made the team, there's no way I was really going to play. And it was really defeating to me to not be able to do that anymore. And that's when my focus really switched to skateboarding, which is fine. But I just think in general, we place, especially with children in America, so much emphasis on being the best, and not on having fun with it,
right?
Which I think is a huge problem. And you guys spin the opposite thing. I mean, you are also the best. You guys are undefeated since the 70s,
for sure. I think that is obviously is a special type of role to have in somebody's basketball or sports journey, showing them the importance of the fun side of the sport. Obviously, it takes a lot of practice, a lot of dedication, but at the end of the day, we just want kids to understand that you can have fun with this game and it can take you all over the world. And I think that with American sports right now, everyone's trying to figure it out. I think everyone's trying to figure out what's going wrong. I guess with American sports, whether it be basketball or whatever, why is it getting kind of overtaken by international players? And I just think that social media plays a part in it. The way kids are exposed to certain things, the expectations that they have, the expectations their parents put on them is at the beginning of stages of a 10-year-old, let that 11-year-old or that 12-year-old just enjoy playing basketball a little bit at least. I understand the grind and the dedication that it takes to build a pro-level player, but if they don't love it, if you don't never give them the space or the chance or the opportunity to love it first, they're going to be burnt out by the time they're 15 or 16, and they're not going to want to play, and they're not going to love it the same. And or on the other flip side of it is that maybe you do push them so hard at 12, and by 16 they're just the best player in the country or the area, but now they work a little less hard because they kind of get everything, and everybody's kind of bowing to their knees and to their feet because they can see what they can get from this kid or from this girl. And it's I think that's where the sports development is getting lost. I think that just understanding and loving the sport and letting development happen is really where the setback is happening.
Yeah, well, and I think a lot of times they're focusing on if you want to do this for a living, you need to play in the NBA, which is not true.
For sure.
Right? I relate everything to skateboarding because that was my industry forever. But I knew when I was young, I wasn't going to be a pro skateboarder, but I knew that there was still a way to do skateboarding for a living. Right.
Yes.
And for me, it was, I opened a skateboard shop, and now I'm the one throwing the contests, and I'm on the mic, and I'm but I'm involved in skateboarding for a living. With basketball, there's a lot of different ways to be involved with basketball, even on a pro level, in a totally different thing.
So many ways.
With what you do. What are all the different avenues that people can take it? Say they're in college, you were an all-star in college and crushed it, but still you're graduating college and you're well, I'm not getting drafted by the Sixers.
Right.
So what options do I have? And I know you played in Brazil and but there's the summer leagues, there's all kinds of stuff. What are all the different avenues that people can pursue these days?
I mean, it's so many ways to make a living through basketball. I mean, you have obviously the other leagues that are, international leagues in different countries, which aren't just an easy, I'm not going to the NBA, I'm just going to go overseas. It doesn't really work that way.
Sure.
Overseas takes connections and a resume and this, that, and the third. So many things go into just going overseas. So there's that. Obviously, if you love the developmental side of it, you could become a trainer. You could become a coach. There's so many people who weren't necessarily great players, but they just know the game. And, becoming a coach isn't I didn't make it. It's right. You could become a coach and take that to the highest level. You could become a film coordinator. I watched a film coordinator go from the school that I played at, which is a small Division III school right outside of Philadelphia, Gwynedd Mercy University, to being at BYU, I think I'm trying to not tell the story wrong, but he was at Gwynedd Mercy, then he ended up at BYU, and now he's at the University of Kentucky.
Sure.
So like you see how like that is and it happened in like a 4-year span. Yeah. He went from Gwynedd Mercy to the University of Kentucky. That is one of the highest levels of basketball that you can get before the NBA, obviously. And it's just so many more. Like I could just keep going with job after job after job, personal development, skill development, assistant coach, associate head coach. It's just so many levels. There's levels to basketball. I say this all the time. It's levels to basketball. And I think that the sooner people kind of understand that, it shouldn't discourage you. It should actually kind of direct you.
Yeah.
I think that the sooner you understand the levels to basketball, it can start to direct you. Like you can start to see, okay, this is the lane I should probably take.
Yeah.
Like I started to realize my lane at some point, and I was like, okay, you know what? I still think I can be a pro. I could be a pretty good pro too. And I kind of got my opportunity and took it. But when I got the chance to come be a Harlem Globetrotter, I understood who I am and what I want to accomplish over the next 25 years as a person, not necessarily just as a basketball player. I'm only going to play basketball from 22. When you turn 22 or 23, your basketball window is like this big.
Yeah.
And then from that moment on, it only gets smaller. It does not get bigger. So as a player, I should say.
Right.
So I had to realize like, okay, my window as a player is probably this right now, but how can I make it this? And, being a Harlem Globetrotter obviously affords me a lot of different opportunities. It puts me in rooms that I probably never would be in. As just a overseas professional, I've created connections in a network that I probably never would have created if I was just an overseas professional. I was a Harlem Globetrotter for a year before I went to Brazil. And I played in Brazil and I crushed it. Like you said, I led the country in scoring. And I had opportunities to continue my international basketball career. It's not like I just didn't want to play.
Yeah, you weren't washed up.
I had opportunities to continue to play at a pretty high level over in Brazil. That was a high level basketball league that I was playing in and pursuing. And I looked at my options and I got the call back for the Globetrotters for my second season, and I just asked myself, what do you want to do with your life? And when I was 8 years old, I told my mom I wanted to change the world. And I really meant that. Like, I really meant that when I was 8 years old. I want to change the world. And obviously, I want to be a basketball player growing up. But by being a Harlem Globetrotter, I think that I really get a chance to accomplish my 8-year-old's dream of being a professional basketball player. I've been to 43 countries. I've played in like 15 NBA arenas, and I've had a chance to play at Madison Square Garden, Boston Garden, the Staples Center, Wells Fargo. I played at the Pfizer Forum the other day. I played in all of these amazing places, but what I get to do on a much larger scale to me, and really what really makes me tick, is I get to make a direct impact on kids every single day. Whether it's kids in Milwaukee or kids in Paris or kids in Spain, I've made an impact on kids all over the world. They follow me on social media. They write me. They ask me questions, and I answer them. I might not get to every single body in the moment,
right,
but I try to do my best at responding to almost every kid that DMs me because it means something to them. Yeah. And I was 9 years old trying to figure it out before, and 12 years old trying to be a basketball player, asking for advice. So I understand that. So that's really my passion. And the passion, that's really my passion, and what really makes me tick is knowing that I'm making an impact, and some of these connections that I've been able to make have helped my community, whether it's giving away turkeys or creating a summer league that I actually kind of created before I was a Globetrotter, technically, and we'll get to that when we get to that. But I just think that being a Harlem Globetrotter was what God had for me, and I didn't shy away from it. It was not easy. Very hard journey, very long journey to get to this point of year 9. I mean, I've never doubted myself really in life ever, but there was a point here where I wasn't sure, like, if this was really for me.
At what point was that?
Probably after my second year.
Oh, okay.
After my second year, I kind of looked at the room and I was honest with myself. If you put 40 names on the board, where's your name? And my name might have been number 36 on the board. And I was really, really honest and transparent with myself because—
Why was that?
Huh?
Why was that? Because you didn't see yourself as marketable or as competitive? Like, why were you number 37 on the board?
I mean, I came back from overseas, from Brazil, straight back to being a Harlem Globetrotter.
Right.
And to be a Harlem Globetrotter takes a special level of understanding that you are an outstanding basketball player. how good are you at basketball is the number one thing that gets you here. So go on that court and be a high-level basketball player before anything. But we're here to do a job. And you have to be able to flip that switch when it's time to entertain and be funny or be engaged and be active. And in my second year, I didn't do a good job at flipping that switch. It was hard for me because I had just came back from
competitive
every single day. And it's like, it's a different level of competitive though.
Right.
This here, it takes you have to be competitive to be good at this.
Yeah.
You have to be able to tell yourself that I'm going to make 4-point shots because I'm going to shoot them every single day. Yeah. I'm going to turn it on and off because I'm going to be good at that. I'm going to make that a skill. I'm going to be good at my magic circle because only 5 people get to go in this circle every single day, and I'm going to be one of the 5 people. I'm going to understand every single play from every single position. I'm going to know what can go wrong and what won't go wrong because everything won't be the same every single day.
Right.
It's such a people always ask me how hard is this job. I really think it's harder than regular basketball, than just playing basketball.
Sure.
I really, really, truly feel that way. And, nobody will understand that unless you get to do both. And I really think that this is even a harder job than, playing basketball, but just on without the entertainment portion. But yeah, my second year, I just came back and I wasn't a good entertainer on that front. I wasn't really good with the ball yet. I still was kind of learning how to spin it. I still was kind of learning how to do some of these tricks and stuff. And I just wasn't good. I just was not good. And it was frustrating. And as frustrating as it was, I did self-evaluation. Yeah. I literally did self-evaluation. And I said, going into training camp year 3, I'm going to be different. And a part of it was my personality too. I'm a laid back guy. Yeah. Really laid back. And when you're here, it's like, obviously a Globetrotter is a Globetrotter. Your energy and is infectious and people are looking for that. And back then I didn't really understand it. It's just like, this is just who I am. Just sure. Laid back. But I could see how if you don't know me or, it could seem like maybe I don't want to be here. And, I understand all those things now. Yeah. But I even understood it going into the next year because all of the self-evaluation I did, I came back year 3 and I was a totally different person. I was a totally different player. I was a totally different energy. I was making myself, I want to say noticeable, making people understand that I want to be here. I love my job. I love what I do. And I did a complete 180. I kind of got an opportunity, and I started getting opportunities, honestly, kind of by accident. Sure. A blizzard kind of put nobody available for the New York Stock Exchange bell except for me. I was the closest possible and the only one really available at the time, and I got the call to get up there. It took me 13 hours to get from Philadelphia to New York, which should take me 3 hours. And it was a blizzard. I got there maybe at like 2 o'clock in the morning. Call time was 5:30 in the morning. So, I got a quick nap, got up, went on TV, did my thing, rung the New York Stock Exchange bell, spun the ball on my finger. I did everything right. I spoke with clarity. I understood my history. I was ready for the moment.
Right.
I knew my history. I knew my talking points. I spoke clearly because public speaking was something I've always been pretty good at.
Sure.
It was, it's kind of a skill that I've always kind of had. And, I just navigated that. And once I got that first opportunity, I went back home because I was, on the reserve side. And then I got another opportunity to do the PR in Philly for the Philly games and went and promoted those games on TV and at the school and
sure.
and at the Boys and Girls Club. And they saw, okay, he's really good at this. He can do this. And then they let me go play the games in Philly, which I was not supposed to do. But since I did such a good job doing the PR, they figured why not just pull him into the game, just add him in. And I played in the games. I did pretty well in those games too. And then I finished a few weeks with that same tour and I played some more games with them. And then one of our teammates had an unfortunate accident where, she was doing PR and her finger kind of got bit by a dog.
Oh, God.
And she had to go home for a bit.
Yeah.
And they called me like, you're going to take over the rest of that PR run. And I went and took it over. And from there, my PR story was history.
Yeah.
I was always called to do PR after that season. And then coming into 2020, I'm at 2019, 2020, I had a new goal now. What can I do to make sure I put myself in the top 25? Okay, now I know I'm a PR, one of the PR guys. I did more PR that summer. I did PR in the fall, things I never did before. Yeah. I went and threw out the first pitch at the Phillies game. I'm like, okay, I'm getting in the mix now. All right, all it took was a little change in mindset, a little change in approach, not really changing who I am. Yeah. Changing my approach, though, was a major key. And, I got an opportunity again to, go ahead and, play in some games, play with a different team. A few guys retired. That kind of bumped me up on the list. And, I had another big goal going into that 2020 season of, okay, now I'm going to show that I can talk on a microphone clearly during the games. I can command a unit. I can command a team and be a floor general. Yeah. Because now it's time for me to transition into being a leader. I'm in my 4th season now. I'm on the court more. And I felt like I was doing great. I was doing one of the big time reads for our game that we had over in Europe. It's called World Vision. And you read, a pamphlet about, the World Vision organization and what they do.
Sure.
And I was doing that read without the pamphlet. I was doing all these little things to kind of let them know, and Coach Handles was my coach who, one of the probably everyone's, inspiration here of being a public speaker and understanding your role and understanding how to be a big star and how to be the person that takes the back seat but enhances the show or enhances what's happening around you. And he was my coach. So, he probably didn't know, but I was reading it without the card so that he could see me speaking without the card. And then, we had our CEO at the time who was at a few of them games. And I felt like, okay, this is about to be a phenomenal tour. I had a good conversation with Handles about him wanting me to just be a floor general. And at that time, I had asked him if I could be the third quarter showman, because he was coaching and doing the third quarter. Sure. And I was like, I could do the third quarter. And he was like, no, I just want you to focus on being a floor general. And I, just said, okay, bet. And that was my job. And I was doing that, and COVID hit. And it kind of was like, man, I was like all the breath out of me. Like, what now? Like I was, I felt like I was about to ascend. And then it was like, will they forget? Well, I forget like what's about to happen. And we thought we were going home for like a month or two. That's what we were told. We're going to go home for a month and we're going to resume back in Finland. And we were home for 16 months. Yeah. And a lot changed here in 16 months. I mean, the entire office shifted. The units shifted. Teams moved around. Coaches moved around. And it was like, man, this is kind of like crazy. About to have to try to redo this again.
Yeah.
And I just went into that coming out of COVID, like, trying to continue my momentum. I saw where I could and, where I needed to change. I made a few adjustments and it was good. I had a good first run coming out of COVID, and then Christmas of 2021 happened. And here's, God knowing when is your time and when is not your time. And, we had one of our lead showmen get COVID, and it was like, right before the game.
Sure.
So it was like, what are we going to do? Who's ready for this moment? And our, third quarter showman at the time was Zeus. He took over the full show. And, shout out to, now he's Coach Flip. But at the time, Flip, Saul White, Coach Flip, he was a player, our most vet, and he was going to do the third. And I pulled him to the side like, Flip, I've been practicing. Like, I've been working on this for a while now. Like I was ready for it in my mind a little over a year ago, and I asked about it, and I just think I'm ready. Yeah. And Flip has always since I got here been that dude that he feels like he's done it all here. He's been a dunker, he's been a dribbler, he's been a coach, he's been this, he's been that, he's been in a hole before. He's like a Swiss Army knife. That's what they say. He's a Swiss Army knife for the Harlem Globetrotters. And he was just like, him doing that third wasn't going to do nothing more for him. But me doing the third, though, it could do something for me. At the time, my jersey wasn't on sale yet. I still was kind of trying. I was still actually trying to find my space. I had found a good rhythm with Thunder at the time. Like, we had started to realize that, okay, I was going to actually come along as being his sidekick.
Sure.
That was my focus. Curly Nil never had a mic. Firefly was never the showman. Dizzy was never the showman. Those dudes that I watched and kind of looked up to and was like, what can I do to, be as important to the show as they are? Like, and then I started to realize that being a sidekick was as important as being a showman. And, Cheese never had a mic. Like, he's always just, that extra element. And, just being able to allow Thunder to just run around and do whatever he needs to do while I control the game, while I relate information to him, tell him, all right, Thunder, let's go. We got this play next or we got that play next. He's doing something funny. I'm enhancing it. You know, I'm not out there trying to be funny with them. I'm just enhancing it and, you know, playing my part. But I told Flip I was ready in that moment. He gave me the opportunity. We were at Boston Garden. So we did the whole week, 2 games a day from Christmas Day until New Year's Day. So that was a lot of reps to get. And, you know, that's when they noticed that, okay, he can do this. And, you know, I didn't get the opportunity to, you know, continue to take over the third quarters that season. I kind of went back into my sidekick role, which was great for me because then I got to tour and be the sidekick and have fun doing it. Yeah. And then about a year later, we get the new rosters out and it said that I'm going to be the third quarter showman. We go do a mini tour in Germany where I do all the third quarters and grow a little bit more. And ever since then, I've been doing the third quarter. And, you know, being Thunder sidekick is, you know, just as fun, if anything, as doing the third quarter. The third quarter is cool. I love it because it's like coming out of halftime. You got to get everybody back engaged. Sure. It's a beast. Like, can you get these people who were just moving around, buying food, buying merchandise, can you get them to sit down and lock in with you? Yeah. It's such a tough thing. And, you know, credit to Thunder who was the third quarter showman before he became a lead showman. He mastered it and he started to understand it. So getting them, me and him sat on the back of the bus for 3-4 hours just talking about the show all the time. And especially in my first couple of years being a showman, it's like everything he would tell me, like I would just listen. And now when we have conversations, it's more of a conversation. Some things he might say that, you know, he didn't really quite like or feel, I might have felt that it was good. So I might still keep it in there. And now it's more of a, you know, conversation, but always making sure I paying the homage that, you know, he helped me understand what it was like to do the third because he did it at a high level for so long. And, you know, I think that, you know, he played a major role in my development as a third quarter showman. Same thing with Coach Scooter and Coach Flip, who was my coach, but now he's, you know, doesn't coach our side anymore. But, you know, Flip and, you know, it was just, it's been a really cool journey. Yeah. And I try to always tell the younger players, like, make sure that, you know, I tell them my story all the time because I know where I was. I know what they see me as now, but I try to make sure I tell them where it came from and what happened, so that they are having that approach from the beginning, so that they're approaching their ball handling with seriousness from the beginning, so that they're approaching turning it on and turning it off from the beginning, running on and off the floor after every dead ball or whistle. So many little things that, you know, I learned that it, you know, takes to be able to get to year 9 or year 12, like Thunder, or year 15, 16, 17, 18, like, you know, some of my other teammates, Hammer, Moose, you know, Coach Scooter, Coach Flip, Coach Handles, they've been around, you know, so it's a lot.
The life that you live is insane. I was like thinking about this earlier of like most kids, they grow up, they want to, you know, in basketball, they want to be in the NBA, but there's so many limitations to what that life looks like. For one, all the pressure is on winning, which can take a lot of the fun out of it. But there are limitations, like your schedule, it's a long schedule and you're only going to like these specific cities kind of on repeat in America. Yeah. And you get to go everywhere, but you guys do have a crazy schedule, right? Not to say like give the full breakdown of a day to day, but like how many games a year do you do? How much do you travel out?
I mean, the schedule is every day. I mean, last year I played in 104 games, I think, starting on Christmas Day, and I went home on June 2nd.
Are they like 3 a week roughly, or how many?
No, we play every day.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we'll be off. You know, we'll have an off day in there, like a day off. But, you know, for the most part, we play every day. Like last year, I think I went on a run where I didn't have a day off for like, I mean, we had a travel day, but like not a day off. Right. But, you know, for the most part, we play a game every day, you know, for the, you know, the schedule, like I said, starts on Christmas Day. We leave home on Christmas Day every year. First game is always December 26th. And then, you know, some units will go until April, somebody will go until May, somebody go until June, and then there'll be other tours sprinkled in there. So like this year I did a tour in the summertime where I went to Asia for 4 weeks or something like that. So you know, it's just, you know, extra tours sprinkled in there. It was a tour in October last year. So it's a grueling schedule, I can't lie.
Yeah, well, and then you do a lot of other things because you have a summer league, and just, I guess, give the breakdown of like what are all the things you do besides the Globetrotters.
Okay, so I have a training business, Underdawgs Sports, where, you know, my focus right now is just basketball But I call it Underdog Sports because, I mean, I play baseball. I got a friend that play football, so it's kind of like I want to rope all of that in together when it becomes like my main focus. But right now, Underdawgs Basketball is my training business. I train kids from 4 years old all the way to pros. Like, I have pros that I train. And, I've been doing that now I started that in 2018.
Is that like one-on-one you do with them, or like big classes?
Both. I mean, I got I do one-on-one. I do small groups. I do big groups sometimes when I do like teams, like a team specific, like maybe a team will book me for a session and I'll do a team. I do house calls. I got, a group of kids that I go to their house and there's like 4 or 5 of them. It's really cool experience for them because I pull up to their house and train them, and they all know who I am and what I do. So it's kind of a, extra little thing that, kids love that their trainer is a Globetrotter. Like, how often is that? So
and is that in Philly?
I do that in Philly.
You're
I'm from Philly, live in Philly.
Oh, okay.
Right now, probably the biggest thing that I do with my basketball aspect in Philly is I have a summer league, Underdawgs Basketball Summer League, also known as Lonnie Young Summer League because it's at Lonnie Young Recreation Center in East Germantown. We just finished up our 5th summer, which we call the Legacy Year. Really cool. We've been calling our summers, like, giving them little slogans over the last few years. Like in year 4, it was the Legendary Summer. Because we became a part of a coalition called the Philly Legendary Summer Hoops Month, whereas like, the Daniel Rump Classic and Foundation and the Chosen League and Different Mindset and a bunch of other Lewis Leonard Basketball, Chuck Ellis Workouts, a bunch of different organization, Ralph Bush Community, and we're all kind of trying to, continue to infuse basketball culture and re-energize it. And we really have, and, I think it's, helping getting kids basketballs and all different types of stuff, creating outlets for people to come. But the Summer League is just really special. It's every Monday and Wednesday night from the first Monday in June until like the second week of August. A lot of high-level players, pros, high-level Division I athletes play in it. And it's a really big deal right now. Our opening night, it was well over 1,000 people in our park, and it's not like a huge park either. It's really packed. Some people want me to kind of move it because it's getting so big and packed, but that's kind of the nostalgic piece for me. It's my park that I grew up in, and it's just like we've never had that in my neighborhood. We've never had the league that we have right now, where every Monday and Wednesday, everyone in the city knows where to be. It's not like a guest. Like, everyone in the city knows we're going to the best arena in the world. That's what they call it. And, they call it the best arena in the world because obviously I travel all over the world. And, early when it first started, we would have like maybe 50 spectators, 100 spectators some nights. I think in year 2, like our championship might have had like 100 spectators, but it was the best arena in the world to me. I would always say it because I'm home. It's like, this is the best arena in the world. But now it's thousands of people out there, and you got stars pulling up like, the infamous YR and Tierra Whack and ATM5 and Core and, NBA players like Lamar Stevens, was out there, and they're just coming to watch. And I think it's really cool that we created that type of a buzz in the field to the point where it's like the older Philly street ball legends like Ayo, for example. I had a hour-long conversation with Ayo just standing around one day, and he was just talking about how he remember how it felt growing up playing basketball outside in Philly, and he was really proud of our league because we kind of brought that feeling back. And we have a celebrity game too, and he played in our celebrity game this summer on Lonnie Young All-Star Friday night. It's a big Friday night. We had the champion boxing, welterweight champion Jerron Ennis, Boots Ennis. He came and played in it. He plays in it too because he's from not too far from our park, like the same district but not the same neighborhood. It's a neighborhood called Brickyard, and we're from our park is East Germantown. But Ayo, he played in our celebrity game, and he was just like talking about how he got that feeling like he was back at 16th Street back in the day. And that's the type of stuff the city needs. And I think it's really cool that we've built that. And I'm only 31. I do it with 6 of my closest friends, Shakur Woodson, Yusuf Tribble, their brothers, Rasheem Mays and Tyreek Johnson, 2 of our best friends, and then my brother, Artis. And, that's our board, our coalition, our commission is what we call it, the commission. And, we've added pieces, other people that have played a major role in our league growing, like The Voice, our friend Fish, and the cameraman Skiz, and, we got our own like Jack Nicholson, Spike Lee.
Sure.
They call him Philly Spike with Chew. Chew has, been my friend since he was 8 years old. He used to play for my dad, but he's at every game on the baseline. Like, he got his own chair and everything because it's a part of the nuance of the league.
Sure.
It's like we got our own celebrities, we got our own microphone, our own cameraman, and
Well, I'm sure you learned a lot about that from what you do with the Globetrotters, right? Like branding it and building it as a business that's bringing in spectators and all that, because it's not just focused on the play.
For sure. I mean, I think that a big part of it really was, I started doing PR, like I said, in 2019 with the Globetrotters, like in my third year. And I think that, I went to school for communications. So, a part of that was marketing, and, I had marketing classes and things like that. So having that background, obviously from educational standpoint, and then also seeing how the Globetrotters kind of put their brand, the big stickers and, the I don't know what it's called, the fold out things on the baseline, like some of the things that you see at other basketball events. I thought about how I could tie that back into my event, and obviously the importance of social media. Like, our Summer League social media is, wow, I have more followers than our social league social media, but obviously I see the numbers and how they operate. Nothing moves nothing moves the needle like our Summer League social media. Sure. I'm talking hundreds of thousands and 200s of thousands and 300 of thousands of views on videos. And, we just had a video at the end of our end of summer video went viral. Over 1 million views, and just people seeing the energy and, how it feels. And the brand is everything. The ability to brand yourself and brand a thing at the same time is something that I learned really quickly. And I think that the league has grown because of, we put our brand. We always have our hoodies on with our logos on them. I have my hoodie on right now underneath for this. Yeah. I kind of keep it on. This is our newest hoodie. But, I think that the branding aspect of anything is, how you build it. You can't build anything without making a brand. It's like, Nike, when you see the swoosh, you know what it is.
Right.
So I want people, when they see that, that dribbling man with the LYSL next to it, they know that that's Lonnie on Summer League, but they know where it is. Like, they know that that's in Philly at East Germantown. And one of the cool things we did with our uniforms this year, it was our legacy year, like I said, year 5. Well, I put the map of East Germantown on the back of the uniform, sublimated. Cool. So it was the map of only East Germantown with a star where the park is. Sure. And it was kind of, paying homage to the neighborhood, because people, a few times in the last few years, people have said things like, y'all put the neighborhood on y'all back with this one and stuff like that. And it's just like, I just wanted the neighborhood on everybody's back.
Yeah, hometown pride, man.
This neighborhood is on everybody's back.
Yeah.
We can't do it unless y'all come here and just enjoy. No nonsense, no fights, nothing too crazy. We need the city and we need the community to cooperate, basically.
Yeah. Well, and it's fun because when you do basketball, like the focus is different when you're playing competitively.
For sure.
But business is its own competitive arena that's much, much wider.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there's no limitations to what you can do with that. That could grow into an international league. Like, there really isn't a limitation.
Right.
You can go in whatever direction that you want, which is really exciting. And you can never be perfect at everything because there's so many avenues to do. You have to eventually bring in more people and whatever to your team to try to grow. But it's exciting.
You have to. I think that, like you said, obviously we can go a lot of different ways with that. And I tell people this all the time. The basketball aspect of this entire thing is just the stage. Because my younger brother, Artis, he's a rocket scientist. And then my youngest brother, Artis, he went to Lincoln University and he graduated with his degree in finance. And he was Mr. Lincoln, freshman class president, Mr. Sophomore, summa cum laude, all of everything you can accomplish as just a college student, not making jump shots or doing anything you can accomplish as just a college student, he did it, and that's something that I looked up to because, wow, that's really cool. And then my younger brother's a rocket scientist. Wow, that's really cool. I want to create more people like them. Like, obviously playing sports, I encourage all kids and everybody to play sports. Honestly, it helps build character, it helps build resilience, it helps build a lot of different things. But, I think that your brain is your strongest asset. And if you can, everybody's interested in numbers. My brother, he goes speak to schools and he said, everybody in here interested in numbers, right? You're interested in money. So if you're interested in money, you're interested in numbers. And that's really all STEM is numbers and, learning how to make numbers work for you and this, that, and the third. And same thing with my youngest brother. So with the basketball aspect, what we're doing is we bringing everybody in and we drawing in odds and we getting everybody close so that then we can go, okay, we got you guys here. Now let's get your kids in these programs. Let's help them learn about STEM. Let's help them learn about trades because, one of my good friends is doing trade school and I have a good friend that does culinary arts and an educator. One of my best friends is an educator and here's a football coach. Here's an avenue to management with CY Management. He does football players and management. There's so many different things. So I just use who I am to get everybody in one room and area, and we're continuing to do that. And I just hope people continue to stay with us. Obviously you watched us build a basketball league, right. So if I could build a basketball league, I could build a hub for your kid to learn about STEM, and I could build a hub for your kid to learn about finance. Just trust me though, and just trust that it's not going to happen overnight, right. Because the league didn't. Right. The league didn't happen overnight. Actually, the league failed once because in 2013, I started this league. So we're technically in our 6th year. So we're in our 6th year on paper, but technically this should be like our 11th year, but it fell once. Sure. But people don't know it fell once. Right. But in 2013, I had started the summer league, not as a Globetrotter, just as a kid from Germantown that wanted to have a league in my neighborhood. I didn't know anything about paperwork. I didn't know anything about insurance. I just wanted to do something for my neighborhood. It's just who I am. And we went out to set up the league in our park, and the rec leadership, which was a different leadership back then than it is now, who lets us do anything we need to do. Thank you. Shout out to Mr. Damon, Miss Keisha, and everybody else. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Couldn't do anything without y'all. Probably the only time I looked in the camera the entire time, but I just need to make sure y'all know how much I appreciate y'all. We would not be able to do any of this without y'all. But rec leadership came outside, shut us down. Y'all can't do this. What y'all doing? Y'all don't have a permit, the whole 9 yards, and we didn't know what to do. The games were starting in an hour and a half. So yeah. It's opening day. We just packed everything up and took it up as a hill. Up the street is another park, 3 lights up. And their park is kind of away from their building. And everyone goes up there and hoops all the time. Like that's actually where people hoop on Sundays up at that park. They don't hoop at the park we grew up at. Yeah. Everyone hoops at the big park because it's much more space. It's 2 courts. So we went up there and we set it up. We had the league the entire summer. I don't remember quite what happened. I can't really remember how we ended up there on the same day as their building leadership. Sure. But I guess they came out to check on the pool one day or something, if I recall correctly, and they saw us out there. More of the story is they saw us out there, came down the hill, and was like, what y'all doing? Like, y'all got to stop this. And we was like, we've been out here all summer. This is the Western Conference Finals because we do it East and the West. Oh, yeah, we have 12 teams, sure. Always have had 12 teams. And we're like, this is the Western Conference Finals. The Eastern Conference Finals already has ended. We have a team in the championship just waiting for this game. Literally, we're going to play this game, finish it, and then we're going to play one more game in 2 days, and it's over. They said, no, y'all can't do this. If y'all keep playing, we're going to call the cops. Well, I'm 19. My friends are 18 and 19, and everyone in the park is like, we finishing this game. Yeah. So we started trying to finish the game. Obviously, they called the cops. Yeah. And that was the end of that. And, I'm 19 at that time, so it's like, all right, not doing that again. So obviously, I just go through my college experience, finish college, go through my whole basketball experience. And one day while I was on tour, it just kind of came to me. I just was sitting in my room writing stuff on notepads. I'm always writing on my notepads. I probably got notepads in my pocket right now. Just writing on the notepads, and I just text my friend like, I'm gonna do it again. Yeah. And he was like, what you talking about? I was like, we're gonna have the league again. And when I got home, we all went to breakfast. I sat down, I laid it out for him. I put it on the table. I never bring anything to them without a plan. I just laid it out and said, this is what it's gonna be. Are you in? 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 Everybody was in. And now we're in. Now we are where we are. So say all that to say, in a very long-winded way, nothing's going to happen overnight. I have a plan for the basketball aspect to create something much larger than basketball. They get to see little bits and pieces of it. Obviously, we do a turkey drive where, we gave away 100 turkeys last year in 40 minutes. So I took that to Giant and I said, well, I work with Giant Food. I took that to them and I said, we gave away 100 turkeys in 40 minutes. I think that, maybe we could give away 200 this year. And then while I was in there, I've created a good relationship, not only with the corporate office of Giant, but the local store that I go pick it up from. And I was in there talking to the managers in the office, and he was like, you know what? Let's put together 200 boxes of food too, where everybody gets 2 vegetables, some fruit, this, that, and the third, and create a full meal for the 200 families that are going to get turkeys. I said, let's do it. We put it together. I got a call that I was going to Asia for a tour during the same time as the turkey drive. So I told my team what it was. This is how we're going to do it. Y'all going to pick it up this way on this day. They did it, knocked it out. I was in Asia while it was happening on the other side of the clock. Yeah. So 13 hours ahead, I think. Yeah. So, while they were doing that, it's nighttime for me. And, I'm watching it all on the phone. And, they did a great job. I couldn't do it without my team. So, just being able to show that small piece that we care way more about basketball,
Yeah.
We're trying to figure out what's next as far as, coach drives and this, that, and the third. And we're going to get to all of those things.
Right.
And, we've been fortunate enough to be here for, more years in a row. And, I don't really take time for granted, but I also don't like to rush things. This is my baby.
Yeah, of course.
This is my baby. And I always ask my friends when they ask me, let's do this or let's do that. Let's start a podcast or let's do this or let's do that. Well, whose baby is this?
Yeah. Who's fully invested?
Whose baby is this?
Yeah.
Who's going to nurture it, feed it, give it what it needs? Who's going to take care of it on bad days? Because you're going to have a lot of bad days when you're building a business. And it can't be like, bad day. You got a baby. If you got a baby, you can't be like, bad day, don't want my baby anymore. So, bad day, don't want my business anymore, don't want this podcast anymore, don't want this league anymore. Yeah. No, bad day, okay, it's a bad day for the league or it's a bad day for the business. What can we do to make sure that we don't have another bad day or multiple bad days? Because you're going to have them.
Right.
But what can you do to recover? What can you do to get your baby to stop being sick?
Right.
Your baby's sick. You can't just get rid of your baby.
Well, and the truth of it all is nobody knows what the hell they're doing. Nobody knows what they're doing. So you just have to try it. And a lot of times things will happen. Like in your case, the cops show up and say, hey, you can't do that. And you go, oh, I didn't know what I was doing. So I guess we're not going to do that again. Right. But it's the people who go, okay, well, that didn't work. Let's do the next thing. Yeah. And you just keep going. But everybody I know that's successful is they didn't know what they're doing. And currently they probably don't know what they're doing. Right. They're just trying to figure out whatever the next thing is. And the people who won't give up and keep doing that, they're the ones that make it. And I want to go back to the Globetrotters a little bit before we get into what's next for you in your life. What does it actually mean being like a showman, being a general, being like, I've never seen the Globetrotters because I don't know if the Globetrotters have ever came to Eau Claire, Wisconsin before. Like it's not like a market that you guys just like come by. So I have no idea what to expect out of the show.
Okay. I mean, obviously it's basketball, so we got guards and, different, but we have different positions like the showman. And the showman is the person who is basically going to control the entire night. It's something that you got to really see for me to understand what I'm explaining. Yeah. But he's going to be the one just controlling the vibes. And, he's going to have his sidekick, which tonight will be me. And, then in the third quarter, I'm going to become the showman. And, it's kind of cool to get a chance to be the one controlling everything and, creating memories for people. But it's really it's hard to paint the picture because I don't really like painting the picture because I want people to come see it really.
Right.
So
yeah, okay.
I think it's just a really cool experience. It's a different experience, not your regular just basketball game where you're seeing people going up and down making jump shots or dunks. It's like you're going to see all of that, plus you're going to see me go in the stands and take somebody's coat and hat and come down on the court with it on and then make a 4-pointer while I'm wearing it. Yeah. And that's a cool moment for them because it's like, yo, Speedy made a 4-pointer while he had my jacket on yesterday, Dad. Did you see that? Yeah. So that's really cool. And I think that that's just what makes it different, especially
something totally unique to the Globetrotters. So how do people see the Globetrotters besides, because you guys have multiple teams, right? And you're performing all over the world, but still there's only so many times that you guys are going to be anywhere in the Midwest over the course of a 5-year time frame. Yeah. And a lot of people can't make it to it. I know you guys have done a ton of different media things. Like there's been TV shows and there's video games. Like there's been a lot of different things. Yeah. But how can people either go to a game, or if they can't go to a game, how can they see what you guys do or be involved?
I think the best, I mean, obviously the schedule is laid out on harlemglobetrotters.com. You just got to kind of, I guess, search and see when we'll be in your city or a city near you relatively. That's, to me, the best experience you can get is going to the game. Obviously, like you said, it's not feasible for everybody, but, you know, God willing it is, you know, being able to get to the game. But right now, you know, we're on YouTube. We got a new TV show that comes on Saturday mornings on NBC called Play It Forward, and cool. It's on Peacock. It's an educational, informational show, really, where you get to see us be people who go into the communities and do a lot of really special things with community organizations. Like even my summer league and my training business, we just did an episode in Philly where Thunder and TNT came and trained a couple of my kids with me. Sure. And I showed them the summer league and the setup, and that was really cool. And you know, it's been episodes where people have gone to different organizations and just seeing, like, you know, there was this episode where kids built cars. Like there's a lot of really different cool things that goes on. And this year we had segments where we showed the science behind trick shots with Kevin De Bruyne. And it's like, you know, I do a shot where I kick it over my head that Thunder does as a pass in the game, which is how I started doing it as a shot. And he breaks down the science of how much force I need to kick it off my heel and over my head for it to go in. So it's really cool for kids to get a chance to, you know, wake up every morning. It's the first time the Globetrotters for the last, I mean, this is our third season, but this is the first time the Globetrotters have been on TV in 40 years.
Wow.
So, like, sure. It's a really big deal. And now we have a new show also on Aspire TV called Secrets of the City. The first episode aired in December in Egypt, and that episode starred myself, Moose, Sunshine, and Thunder, and Coach Scooter. Really cool episode where we took you all around Cairo. You know, me and Thunder went to a dinner spot in the middle of the market there, and it's just a lot of really cool things that you don't really get to see, but we're taking you literally on an adventure, the secrets of the city. Like, you know, we rode dirt bikes around the pyramids and had a tea party at the pyramids.
And basketball took you there.
Basketball.
Do you get desensitized a bit to, like, some of these crazy things, like being on TV in South Korea?
Say that one more time.
Do you get desensitized to some of that stuff?
The funniest part is my younger brother, he just did an interview about who he is and what he does.
Yeah.
And he was like, you know, at some point he became jaded to his own life because he just will tell people, like, in the most casual way, like, yeah, I'm Cairo Artis and I'm a rocket scientist. And it's like everybody always freezes, like, wait, back up. And he was like, he kind of became jaded to his own life in that way. And, you know, obviously I feel like I've been the same way up until recently. For a while, I kind of was just, you know, I had just made another basketball team. To me, I didn't really appreciate that I made this team until I became a part of the tryout process 2 years ago. And I started, or last year, and I saw how special of a day you have to make this team.
Yeah.
And how special of an interviewer you have to be, and to even to that point make it 9 years here. When I think about the things that I've seen over the last few years, maybe a few years ago I started to realize, like, whoa, I really made it through a lot. And I seen people come in and out and can't really make it past. I've seen people not be able to make it past a week doing this. Sure. So, you know, I kind of was desensitized to it, but now, I mean, I really appreciate it, and I really understand what I've done, who I am, and I really won't let anybody take it away from me. It's not something that everybody can do or could do, because if it was, then trust me, the chance to go to 43 countries, you would take it in a second.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it took a lot of hard work to do this, and, you know, I know all of the days that, you know, I was in the gym by myself, and I wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and, you know, even on my birthday, I just spent my last birthday in Singapore because we were on tour. Yeah. You know, I was in Singapore for tour, but it just happened to be my birthday.
Yeah.
But just little moments like that, and I kind of, you know, was talking, you know, during that day, and I was like, man, I wake up at 6 o'clock every morning so I can spend my 31st birthday in Singapore.
Yeah.
It's something that you just don't take. I just don't take for granted. And COVID actually played a role in it and actually helped me with that as well.
Because it all went away for a little bit.
It was gone.
Right.
Like that. Yeah. Like I remember it was March 7th. I was in Manchester, United Kingdom 2020, and I shot terribly. I was like 0 for 5 from 4, but I had a great game though. I mean, I was all over the place. I was creating connections. It was awesome. I had a great game, and I remember walking out the gym saying, that was awesome. Like, that game was so fun, but I'm going to make shots tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm going to make shots tomorrow. Tomorrow didn't come for 16 months. You realize, like, you just can't take anything for granted at that point. Like, not a thing. Like, when tomorrow doesn't come if you don't know if tomorrow's going to come for 16 months, you can't take anything for granted. And, you know, like I said, I've had a chance to go through some things personally over the last few years that have kind of changed me and shaped me and grew my relationship stronger with God, because it had to grow with God, from losing my best friend to losing my cousin who was like my brother, and their kids are my godchildren. So going through that with them and being able to come out of that, you know, clouded space, took a lot of like trips with God and prayer, and, you know, appreciating my job as well.
Right.
You know, because the job became hard because I felt like they needed me more than ever, and I was away. I'm here and I'm there, and I'm seeing this Eiffel Tower and I'm seeing the Leaning Tower of Pisa. But I've been able to really appreciate those moments, because it's like I get to share those stories with them. And I didn't realize how important it was to them for me to have this job until maybe last year. Sure. With my godson, we were talking about my job. He was like, you have the best job in the world. Like, you have to do that forever.
I think a lot of people would agree you have the best job in the world.
You have to do that forever. And I just like, I can't do it forever. But, right. You know, I think it's cool that you think. I think it's cool that he thinks it's cool.
So how long is forever, though, for you, for the Globetrotters, do you really think? Obviously, you have these other things that you have going on, and you can grow those in whatever direction that you want. There's really no limitations on it. But how long would you like to be continuously playing with the Globetrotters, traveling the world?
I think I want to play, you know, be able to play the game and impact people for, you know, as long as I feel like God is guiding me on this journey. You know, I don't want to say 5 years or 10 years, because then I'm predetermining something that I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, I think whatever God has in store for me is what he has in store for me. And I think that what has made this journey so special to me is, like I said, I mean, I told you the journey and the story that it took, but I always trust God. So, you know, first and foremost before anything. But, you know, I am obviously in my 9th year, and, you know, some people do it for 25 years, some people do it for 5 years, some people do it for 5 days. And I'm just appreciating each and every day of this journey. You know, I don't want to think too far ahead, and, you know, is not thinking about what was behind me, but appreciating everything that was behind me and understanding how that got me here, to understand what I needed to continue to do, to continue to have another day and another day and another day. As long as God's blessing me with another 24 hours, you know, I'm going to always do my best to utilize it the way that I feel like, you know, he's intending it to be used.
Yeah, and your window's different. Like you said, the window before was really, really small if you're talking professional basketball. Sure. But realistically, like, you have to be a really, really good basketball player to do what you do, an exceptional basketball player. But the actual important result from what you do isn't the basketball. It's the impact that you have with kids, right? Yeah. And you can continue to get better and better at that. And you can continue to grow that in different ways. Use your influence as a Globetrotter to throw other different events or whatever, like what you're doing the Summer League. And all the opportunity is there. And I think, as far as like looking at a window of time, even if you, as Speedy, lose a small step, that doesn't mean that you would be a worse Globetrotter. You can very much be a more impactful one 10 years from now.
I mean, it also, I mean, it's like you just would have to adjust your game. Like, you know, I would just adjust what I right now as a Globetrotter, you know, I try to capture the hearts of every little dude in the arena by just being super fast and having so much fun, and, you know, scoring the ball on these tall dudes, and, you know, just being all over the place. I think that it makes these little guys be like, wow, he's a little dude, he's doing that, I can do that. And you know, I think that at some point also, you know, I make really cool connections, but, you know, I've seen the ways that I can create connections without being all over the place, and, you know, preserving my body a little bit more, but not preserving my impact, or not
the basketball IQ.
Preserving my body, but not reserving my impact, I should say.
Yeah.
You know, still having that same level impact while also taking care of myself at the same time a little bit more, rather than just being on the floor all night, because, you know, that's who I am. You know, ever since I was a college player, I'm always on the floor. I'm always on the floor because I play so hard. You know, I just wear my heart on the sleeve on the court. So, you know, I think that being a Globetrotter is special to me. You know, it's something that, you know, in my early years, you know, I used to get told all the time, you don't even know what you're doing. Like, you are a Harlem Globetrotter. Like, you don't even understand. And I really probably didn't understand, but I get it now. And, you know, it's something that, you know, like I said earlier when I talked about Sweet Lou, and, you know, Sweet Lou too is like, in 25 years when I'm 56, you know, I'm going to look at that picture and be like, man, I really played for the Harlem Globetrotters. And we had somebody's great nephew, one of the, he was the oldest living Globetrotter. He recently, not recently, he passed away a few years ago, I believe. But his nephew was at the game, and he was so excited. He showed us the picture of his great uncle, and in that moment, I thought that was really cool, because I'm like, yo, like, I just had my first nephew. My younger brother just had his son, and you know, I'm missing him growing up a little bit, like from his infant stage. Like, I'm not missing him growing up yet, but, you know, babies grow fast when they're babies. So I'm missing that first 6-month growth. That's a pretty big jump. And but I thought about him in that moment, because it was like, yo, Coda's gonna one day in like 20 years have a picture and be like, or in school, or see the Globetrotters somewhere and be like, my uncle was a Globetrotter. Yeah. And then maybe his kids are going to be that great nephew that comes to a game 50 years from now, or 70 years from now, and be like, my great uncle was Darnell, Speedy, Artis, and this is a picture of him standing on the table in Madison Square Garden. Like, that's a really cool thing to like think about sometimes, and, you know, it's made me appreciate what I do.
Dude, social media is what's really going to change the game for that. I think about this all the time, about the impact that you have on somebody, especially when they're younger. You know, in the skateboarding world, I had that for a lot of kids in this town. And they have pictures with you. They have pictures from this event. They have, you know, whatever. Well, in years before, you would never hear their story. Everyone lives so much more online now. All these kids, they meet you, they buy their jersey or your jersey, they follow you on Instagram. You're going to hear these stories in 10, 15, 20 years about how you impacted and changed the whole direction of their life.
Yeah.
And you're going to be able to still have a relationship with these people and hear those stories. Like, all these seeds that you're planting with all of these people that you're impacting are going to bloom, and you're not going to be able to like reap the rewards and see all of that until later. But it's going to be so worthwhile when it happens later on.
One of the coolest things too about this job is, obviously I make an impact on people, but people make an impact on me. And it's like, you know, like I said, God really works the way he works, because earlier this summer, in 2019, when I had got that big little PR break, a part of that PR run was we went to visit a kid in Radnor. His name was Dylan. He was sick, and he was on my heart for some reason early in the summer. But I got so busy running around, because I came home from Egypt, and as soon as I got back, it was time to start the league, and it was just so much going on. And he was just really on my heart though. And he DM'd me, just randomly DM'd me one day about, he's a basketball player and he really wants to train with me. And I responded immediately, because I'm like, yo, you've been on my mind for the last few weeks, and I was going to reach out to you. And, you know, I was going to reach out to him for the camp that we had coming up, but he reached out to me first. I invited him. Him and his brother and his dad came down. He's a really good player. Yeah. And I just thought about how I gave that kid my sneakers 5 years ago. Like 5 years ago, I gave him my sneakers, and he was, you know, he was in a very bad spot. And to see him now where he is, come out of that, the kid is going to be pretty good. Like, he's a pretty good, like, I work with a lot of kids his age. That kid is good. And to see him be that, and to know I'm going to work with him more this summer and maybe next summer and going forward. But from that moment on the court as a Globetrotter, when I went to his school first and, you know, was just trying to lift up his spirits, it's like, man, God just like, your purpose is your purpose, man. Like, it just is. And, you know, my one thing for people in this world is that my dad is the driving force behind this thinking, and my mom, and, you know, my parents, you know, they instilled a lot of things in me and my brothers that we could be whatever we wanted to be. And my dad always told me, you know, don't chase money, don't chase those material things, and, you know, just chase like what you love and your passion. And I think that becoming a Globetrotter was one of the best things to ever happen to me. Like, it's not about the 43 countries. Like, that's all really cool. Like, I'm not, like, I would never lie like that. It's pretty cool. Yeah. But the fact that I get to have moments like that is really what, like, makes me feel like I'm accomplishing my 8-year-old dream. And that's really, like, you know, what I look when I look back on it, I'm going to look back on it and be like, I really made a difference. You know, no matter what happens or comes from it, you know, no matter what I'm able to accumulate or not accumulate, I've really made a difference. And, you know, Handle say it all the time, we really changed the world. What we do, Coach Handles, this was his dream. He was 6 years old. He wanted to be a Harlem Globetrotter. And he feels like we really changed the world. And I'm on that boat with him. I'm on that ship with him, that I feel like we really changed the world. Like, we really make an impact on the world. And, you know, I think that it's cool to have those type of moments with a kid like Dylan, who I'm never gonna forget. And I'm definitely not now, because we're gonna work together. Yeah. But, you know, I wonder if, you know, sometimes I just wonder if he ever felt like I forgot about him, because I never really did. You feel me? And I just hope that kids all over the world that buy my jersey, come take a picture with me, get a hug with me, you know, I never really forget those moments. You know, as big as an impact as I may have on you as a person in your development, you've had on me as a person in my development. And we're all developing every day. We're all human. You're going to have bad days. You're going to have good days. And my advice is that when you're having a bad day, you don't mask it. You don't act like you're not having a bad day. You have that bad day. You lean into it. You feel those emotions. You be honest with yourself. You cry if you need to, and you pray. And then you come out of that day, and then you go to the next day. Because it's always going to be a next day, as long as God gives you another 24 to have the opportunity to be better than yesterday. And it's all about the journey. It's not about the end goal. It's not about what's at the end. It's about each and every day, the steps you take. That's going to build you to be the person that you need to be for your family, for yourself, for God. In the end, it's all about the journey. Believe me, trust me. I've been on an insane journey as an athlete who didn't play varsity until I was a senior, and then playing Division III basketball at Gwynedd Mercy University, being able to accumulate a large resume, going overseas, playing in Brazil, being a Harlem Globetrotter for 9 years, to a personal side where I lose my best friend, I lose my cousin, their kids lean on me, and I have emerged from all of that stronger in faith, stronger than ever with God, feeling great in my body after playing basketball for 9 years and sleeping on buses, strengthening my relationships, being more honest with myself about my strengths and weaknesses, and being honest with those around me and our relationships, being honest with those around me about their strengths and weaknesses, being supportive. You know, I'm ranting right now, but man, I really do love the journey. Like, it's just, I could talk about it forever, dog. Real rap.
Dude, I forget where I heard it, but this like had a huge impact on me. The quote was, learn to fall in love with the life that you have. Like, truly romanticize your life and fall in love with it. Because everybody's life is beautiful. Like, there's so many aspects to it that make your life unique, and your journey and your story and everything that's available to you epic, you know, if you can appreciate what those things are. But a lot of us are just like head down looking, you know, I need to get to this thing, and they're just go, that they forget like how amazing the opportunities are that are in front of them. But when you can learn how to slow down and appreciate those things, life changes.
That's true.
In all ways, life changes.
That might be that's a part of it too for even myself. Like, over the last few years, like I said, I've been appreciating. I've slowed down.
Yeah.
You know, my life is still pretty fast paced. It's like, it's nothing I can, I don't want to say it's nothing I can do. And I think that I might have put on Instagram a few weeks ago that my 2025 goal is to be less busy. I think not less on my plate, but just less busy, like less like moving around, running around, like more available to my family, more available to, the kids that need me, more available to, my relationships and, just all of those things that really matter. And, I know everything else that I do matters, but I'm a big family guy, as you can probably hear or feel. My family means everything to me. My friends, it's just who I am. And, I think that sometimes the busyness of me, I kind of lose track of. I don't really lose track of people because they know that they can call me and I'll do anything for them, all of them. I mean, everybody knows that. And sometimes it might stretch me then because I'm getting pulled in every single direction, and I always want to try to make sure everybody feels like I'm there for them. But I think this year I definitely want to focus on being less busy, more into those relationships, being strong relationships, but less like I can do every single thing. More like, giving you these words that can probably help you figure out how to do this and can probably help you figure out how to do this while I'm still sitting here inhaling, exhaling, understanding what I need to do to kind of get to my next level of life as well. Because, like I said, I'm 31, I'm still figuring it out too. And, I think that that's something that's important for people around me to understand that, I know, obviously it looks cool because it is cool, but, I'm still a person at the end of the day that's trying to figure out life, whether it be with my godchildren or my love life or my relationships with my family. It's still so many layers of me that need to be, taken care of, that I need to take care of too.
Yeah.
And, I just, I need to make sure that this year and years going forward that I take a step back from not taking care of everybody else or, helping everybody else, but just making sure that everybody understands that I'm a person too that needs some, more nurturing too.
Yeah. Well, life just is not a race. And when you accept, when you start to understand that you don't have to accomplish things in a certain timeline anymore, because nobody really cares. It's your own life. You're doing your things at your own pace.
Right.
Once you figure out that you don't have to reach a certain place by a certain time, even though that was your goal, and you can slow down and take things at the pace that you can enjoy them and build them in the way that you want, everything just becomes so much easier, I think. Dude, you have to get to your practice. So thank you so much for giving me your time. I want to give you a quick little gift, and then I want you to shout out where everyone can find stuff.
Okay.
Do you like coffee?
I do like coffee.
Dope. I have 2 different bags of coffee. You can have whichever one you want.
Okay.
So this coffee's from Minnesota. Well, it's actually from Honduras. This is minimum wage Tim's coffee. That's regular. And then Big Bad Decaf is obviously decaf. So whichever ones you want, it's whole beans, so you got to grind it, which means it tastes fantastic. So that's for you. And then how can everybody, if they want to reach out and they want to say, hey, can you please send me a 30-minute voice memo and continue this story? How do people get a hold of you?
Follow me on social media at Speedy Artis 3. That's Speedy Artis, Artis 3. On social media. You can email me also at darnellartis@gmail.com. That's, I'm easily accessible. I respond. I'm always in my emails because, I'm always working, trying to connect, trying to network. So I'm always in my emails, opening them, responding to emails. I open 99.9% of my DMs. So, if you just reach out to me on social media, that's probably the easiest, quickest, and most effective way in 2025 to probably connect with anybody.
I'm telling you, man, all I do is Instagram DM people.
Yeah.
And then I'll drop a comment on their most recent post saying, that doesn't sound like a bot, saying, hey, I DM'd you. I don't know if you saw it. This is blah, blah, blah.
Right.
You can get a hold of just about anyone. How can people support you? Can they buy your jerseys and stuff online?
Oh, yeah. You can buy my jersey, HarlemGlobetrotters.com. Just go to shop jerseys, and then you'll see me Speedy number 3. And I have a new hoodie that I just dropped. Hold on. I'm going to reveal it.
Dang, that's cool.
But if you want to support our summer league in any way, well, right now we just kind of released this hoodie. It says BAITW, which means best arena in the world. Then at the bottom it says best arena in the world on the pocket with Lonnie Summer League, and you can see 3 of my favorite monuments that I've had the opportunity and the pleasure to see: the Leaning Tower of Pisa, the Roman Colosseum, the Eiffel Tower. And then there's the globe and the plane because, we're the best arena in the world. So pretty cool promo we did to start the summer was I took my jersey with me on tour last year, and I took our league basketball with me on tour, and I kind of ran around. So I ran past the Eiffel Tower, past the Leaning Tower of Pisa, through London, past the Roman Colosseum, and then I ran into our park. So it was like running all around the world to get back to the best arena in the world. So, you know, we're really focusing on, we're going to focus on merch this year. And this was just our first drop. I released the hoodie, didn't really order them and sell them yet. But as you order them, we get them out. So, yeah, that's Lonnie Young Summer League on social media at Lonnie Young Summer League.
Dude, thank you so much. I got to see if I can get my kids back here for the game or something.
For sure, that would be cool.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of The Passion Pod. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. We'll see you soon.